With the 2018 hiker season coming up fast, it is now time for the Hiker Spotlight to start shining the light on some of the hikers you will see this upcoming season. Tonight on the Hiker Spotlight, you will talk to a man that was part of the Parole and Probation Department for 34 years. We're going to talk to Randy Forrest. I had the opportunity to talk to this man, and this man is more pumped than almost anyone I'd ever seen for his Appalachian Trail hike. As he is in his retirement years, he's looking forward to not just a vacation, but an adventure and a journey. I'll be honored to sit down and talk to this man and follow him along his journey. Today we will learn about Randy Forrest. Let's get it started. Tonight's Hiker Spotlight. Probation Termination. This is Teardrop, and welcome to New to the Wild. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the next edition of the Hiker Spotlight. I am honored to be here today with my good friend Randy here, and he's got quite an interesting trail name. Why don't you, or what you're starting with as a trail name, Randy, why don't you explain to everybody who you are and what your trail name is?
Well, my real name is Randy Forrest, and I've kind of taken the moniker of Probation Termination only because I worked for 34 years for the Florida Department of Law, or Florida Department of Corrections, as a probation and parole officer. And I kind of feel like I was actually terminated from probation. So it's a good feeling not to be working anymore.
Excellent. No, that's and it's really interesting to see me conduct an interview with a probation officer because everybody knows my past, and so so man, I'm definitely thankful for all the work that you've done, and I appreciate you sitting down here with me today. So you say you're coming from Florida. Let me ask you something, just off the top of my head. Have you ever done any of the Florida Trail down there? Just curious.
Well, I got a son that lives up in Gainesville going to school, and there's little pieces of the Florida Trail that go through the Ocala National Forest. To answer your question, no. But I have some plans between now and the time I take off on my through hike to do some of the Florida Trail, at least in that area, grab him, make him come along with me, and haul some of my gear.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the hell, yeah. I will tell you, there's actually a beautiful set of trail. It's called the Lake to Ocean Trail, I think is what it's called. It's literally, it's around the Kissimmee area. It literally goes to the Atlantic, but it's, I can't remember where it starts, man, but there's some good stuff down there. I get a little paranoid when I'm in Florida hiking because I'm deathly afraid of cottonmouths.
Yeah, I've actually taken two of them out of my backyard before. One of them inside the house. I had to get one out of the inside of the house at one time. I live on a big piece of property up here, and I actually live in Titusville, Florida, where David A. Miller's from.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Man, that's kind of cool, actually. I lived down there in a couple different places. I lived in Clearwater Beach. I lived in Fort Myers. I lived in Kissimmee. So, yeah, I'm actually a Florida fan. I love it down there. How's the weather down there today?
It's 75 degrees, and it's probably the nicest day we've had all year. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the things I remember about hiking on that Florida Trail down there is that some days, it was the rain. The rain was more vicious than anything I had seen on the Appalachian Trail, and it comes in sideways. Am I lying?
You're not lying. It'll get swampy, and after the rain goes away, the mosquitoes come out. Yeah. No matter what time of year it is.
Absolutely. You're definitely right. Now, so obviously, with you being in a parole and probation field for most of your life, I assume you didn't have too many opportunities at a decent vacation. Is that what you would consider this upcoming hike in 2018? For those of you guys that are not understanding, he has announced that he is going on the Appalachian Trail for a through hike in 2018. Would you consider this a vacation for you, sir?
Well, in my life, I've always been doing some type of sport. I've been very athletic through most of my life. So, yes, vacation, kind of, but it's a workation because I know I've been out on parts of the trail already, and I am telling you, it is not. A Florida mile is way different from a mountain mile.
You're not lying, because I did literally 18 miles on my first day in Florida, and 18 miles out here in the Appalachians is almost like death. It's hard to explain. So with all that being said, let me ask you, man, how long have you been into hiking in general? How long have you been hiking?
Probably about the last year. I got to watch a Netflix, not series, a video on, there's a National Geographic special about the Appalachian Trail.
Sure.
My father had actually talked about doing it, about walking the trail and this, years ago when I remember him talking about it, but he never got to it. He was a kayaker. He got into kayaking. And as I saw that series and I was getting close to my retirement, thinking, what am I going to be doing? What am I going to do? Because I'm certainly not going to go back to work. I saw that series. I said, this is something that's pretty doggone interesting. So I got my girl involved, and we have just started hiking in the last probably 6 months, doing as much as we can. We both fall in love with it.
Absolutely, man. Especially if you can get your partner into the same hobby, should we say. That's always a good thing, man. So, obviously, before you started this, did you ever think that kind of walking would be fun? I mean, honestly, hiking, I ask everybody what got you into hiking, what made you wake up one morning and say, I think I would enjoy this.
You say walking, and I would never have thought of in Florida just walking for exercise.
Right.
But when the bug kind of got in my ear and I started looking at it, we started doing some actual hikes with weight on your back and up and down some hills and mountains. And you realize that it's not just a walk. It is a workout, and it is a kick-ass workout. More than some of the things I've done in my past. I was a competitive racquetball player for 20, 25 years, traveled all over the United States, mostly the Southeast. I was one of the top players in this area for a good long while, probably 10, 15 years. Injuries and father time slowed me down, though, and I really haven't been able to play much at all in the last several years. But I've got the bug. It's eaten me alive, and I just can't wait to get out to my next hike.
Absolutely. Now, I've told most people that it is the best exercise I've ever done. Now, I fought competitively in the cage. I trained in MMA for 15 years, and I kind of understand cutting weight, right? And I see on the Appalachian Trail a lot of those same things. Like, I lose 25 pounds by the time I get to the top of Georgia every time. I lose 50 pounds by the time I get to Hot Springs. It's really intense. And so for people that's out there trying to lose weight or get in shape, now, granted, the original weight loss is a water loss, but at the same time, when you leave, a lot of it stays off. I started out 280, I dropped to 220, and then I hung at 220. You know what I mean? So, I agree with you, man. Well,
I think you level off after a while because you've lost the fat and you're gaining the muscle now. So you're still losing whatever little bit of fat for you're gaining. So you're gaining muscle. Yeah. And you level off, and then eventually, I heard somebody quote that the men that walk the trail, when they get done, they look emancipated, but the women just get fit.
Yeah, no, and they're right. They're 100% right there. So what I do is in the off season, in the off season, I literally come home and I drink a lot of beer and I fatten back up, and it makes the first month back on the trail tough, but it's worth it. So. Now, with the said, the last year you said you got into it. Have you done any hikes? What is your hiking experience exactly?
Well, we started out, first time we went to Amicalola Falls. We actually kind of made a vacation out of that and stayed in a cabin one night, and then we were going to hike to Springer the next day, which we did. Sure. And when I left, I called up a shuttle ride to come pick me up, thinking that we would be there, I think I picked 4 or 5 hours to give me plenty of time. By the time we got to Springer, I called him back. I says, we ain't going to make it. Can you wait for me?
Right.
And he did. He was nice enough to wait for me. But it opened my eyes to what I was getting myself into very quickly. And we had a blast doing it. But we were worn out. Like you said, we were wiped out.
That approach trail, I can tell you now, it's really what opened my eyes. Because the first night I never even slept outside. I don't know if you saw the shelter right there on the approach trail. It's called the Max Epperson.
Yep.
That was the first time in my entire life that I actually slept not in a house. So, like, that was a wake-up call for sure. And then the approach trail was much of the same. When it comes to the approach trail, did you do the steps?
Yeah, we did the steps. So by the time I got done with the steps, it was, that's taken about 50% of the energy I had for the day gone.
Yeah.
So, and you're talking about that shelter. I actually have a picture of myself sitting in that shelter. I refuse to post it anywhere because I don't think I've ever looked so bad.
Yeah. I think you're talking about the one at the end of the approach trail, the Black Gap shelter right before you go up Springer Mountain.
Yes.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's got the worst. That water source. Trying to go get the water from that source is literally hell. No, I was talking about the shelter. The first shelter. Actually, a lot of people don't know this. It's at the beginning of the approach trail before the steps.
Right.
So you did the whole approach trail literally your first day, literally.
First day. Yes, we did. And paid the price the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what would you say was the biggest thing you took from that journey through the approach trail?
Well, I'll tell you what I learned the most actually from that day. That was only one day. We've done some other hikes. But that day I learned that, 3 liters of water you don't need to be carrying. I'm carrying an extra 6 pounds and didn't realize that, because I didn't know.
Right.
And, there was plenty of water for me to fill up and resupply the water. But, by the time I got to the top of Springer, I still had 2 liters left. And I'm thinking I just carried 4 pounds and didn't need to. So, that was a learning experience. Every hike is a learning experience for me, at least at this point.
Absolutely. I know the feeling. The water is so plentiful on the Appalachian Trail. There's never a reason to carry more than 2. Never.
Yeah.
And you'll see. So what other kind of experience did you get in?
Well, after we did the approach trail, we did a 2-night deal where we parked at Neal's Gap. And of course, I don't know that much about the trail, but we went back toward Blood Mountain, and we didn't realize that the north side of Blood Mountain is pretty doggone steep.
Yeah.
So we were thinking we were going to do, 6, 7, 8 miles maybe that day. When we got to the bottom side of Blood Mountain on the other side, we found Woodhole Shelter and said, we're not going further. So, first day out. So that was our first night out on the trail where we were able to learn about pitching a tent, cooking the food, doing all of those house cleaning and hanging the bear bag and those things.
Yeah.
And the next day we kind of went further south. I'm trying to think. We went to Lance Creek, a little bit past Lance Creek before we turned around and came back. Spent the night again at Woodhole Shelter and then hiked back over Blood Mountain the following day. And had a great time. I mean, that's the hike that really got the bug into my girl's thing. She loved it.
Absolutely. Now, going south, you went up Blood Mountain the hard way.
We didn't know it going into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, at least on the positive side, coming back, you got to go the easier way. And most AT hikers, most AT hikers, when they look at Blood, I think it's overrated. But most people, when they're coming up Blood Mountain, they're coming from the south.
Yeah.
You took the hard route for sure. That's not overrated because going down Blood Mountain, down that is into Neal's Gap is one of the most difficult and most dangerous descents I've ever done. In fact, I got knocked out cold on that thing one winter. A long story, but so you got some good experience including the Woods Hole Hostel. Now, the thing I remember about Woods Hole, Woods Hole. Is that?
Woods Hole, yeah.
Yeah. The thing I hated about that hostel is it was so far off the trail. It says 0.2, I think, but it's more like 0.5 maybe, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. We were walking and getting madder and madder. Like, where is this thing? Where is this thing? Finally, we got to it, and it was nice. We had a good night.
Oh, I love that. I love that shelter. Let me ask you though, was the water source working was it there when you were there?
The water source was there and it was flowing pretty freely. We didn't have any issues with water. That's another thing we learned out there is, as you're going into the shelter, fill up with the water you're going to need for the night and the next morning.
Yeah.
We just kind of fill up our bottles and realize the next morning we don't have any water. So we got to haul back to the water thing to fill up water to have breakfast and that sort of thing. So that was, each little learning lesson is helping us more and more. Little things like that. You make the mistake, you learn it once, and you're gonna pay the price if you do it again.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than having to walk to your first cup of coffee. That sucks.
Well, we actually after that did the Foothills Trail, the 76 miles on the Foothills Trail. That was about 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And we had the ultimate time out there. That I would really call that trail more like the waterfall trail. There has to be at least 35 beautiful waterfalls on that 76 miles. It's unbelievable how nice that thing is.
Man, yeah, that's. I gotta get out there and do it. Is your lady coming with you on your tour?
Well, she's going to do parts of it. She's going to get into AWOL's guide and do her research and find out what the best sections are. Yeah. And she's going to come up and meet me and do what sections she's able to. Sure. Time-wise, it's a time thing for her. And then we're going to go to trail days, no matter where I'm at on the trail. I've already got reservations over in, is it Abingdon, the town that's near it?
Yeah, it is Abingdon.
I think it's Abingdon. We got a place in Abingdon. We're going to stay Friday and Saturday night for trail days, just because this is new to me. I've never done this. It sounds like a good time.
Let me tell you, you're already making a good decision, and that's staying in Abingdon rather than Damascus on trail days. Listen, now you would probably do fine being a a former officer, but for me, I always have dodged trail days because to me, I'm a heavy drinker. So for me, it's a trap. I'm going to go to jail. You know what I mean? So I'm like, a lot of people, believe it or not, go to jail in Damascus every year because, they're foolishly walking around heavily intoxicated in the middle of obviously a hiker get together. It's just kind of a trap. So I stay out. You may see me there this year, maybe, but I won't be drinking. I'm gonna take it easy. If I go there, I'm just gonna carry a soda around all day. So,
yeah, the Damascus video too. That's some pretty sad stuff going on over there. I guess they've closed that place down though.
Yeah.
On that idiot meth heads running the joint.
I was gonna let you slide on that because you're new. I was gonna let you slide on that question because you were new. But I gotta ask you, since you bring it up, you saw that entire situation. And I don't know if you got a chance to see my interview with Craig Johnston, who was the fellow that was assaulted that day. And so the facts came out that he was there looking for drugs. He was there looking for weed, and they had previously done business together before, the owners of Hey Joe's and him in that field, let's just say that. And so I think it kind of changed my opinion, but not so much, because at the end of the day they were business owners, and it still didn't give them a right to say some of the things or assault anyone by any means. What are your thoughts on that entire situation, man?
Yeah, it didn't change my opinion at all that the guy was there to buy weed. There's nobody in this world that deserves to be treated like that guy did. And plus, even on video, you say assault, he was battered. It looked like to me he was struck. He was hit.
Yeah.
And I think you said those guys eventually did go to jail, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely they did. And their business is shut down.
Whatever the guy's there for, if he's there to eat French fries or if he's there to buy weed, it doesn't make a difference what they did to him.
No, I agree. I agree with that. But what I mean is, by him admitting that, it adds credence to his story, and for me, it makes him 100% believable to me that everything that he said happened. And whereas the mayor and even the owners of Hey Joe's, they tried to discredit his story, and the fact that the owners of Hey Joe's, everybody knows everybody in Damascus is meth heads. Not everyone, but a good portion. But it just, to me, it made it more believable when he came out and was honest about everything. And so I was even more on his side after he just came out and was honest. If that makes sense. It doesn't change.
It makes 100% sense. You know, he's being honest, where the mayor is trying to protect his political career.
Yeah.
You know, and that, you know, you see that happen all over the United States. You know, the damn politicians are just trying to protect their next reelection. And, you know, he could have swept it under the rug, and you know, he would have done that, but he couldn't because it was out on video. So what does he have to do? He has to somehow make the guy that was assaulted look bad.
Yeah, you know, spin the story a little bit. Yeah.
So, yeah, he didn't deserve that.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you completely, no matter what he was there to do. Now, back to you, man, because you know, obviously you got a big planned hike in 2018. What kind of preparation you've talked about your shakedown hikes, but in general at home when you're doing your planning, what type of preparation are you doing in terms of gear, in terms of just planning? Do you got going on for this hike?
Well, I've got all of my gear pretty much except for one or two pieces. I'm ready to roll. You know, a matter of just testing it out, which the shakedown hikes are doing. I'm in the gym, you know, I'm going and I'm working out as much as I can. Obviously in Florida, you're not going to be able to copy what you have out on the trail. So there's a couple of things I'm doing. You know, I'll get on the treadmill and put it up as high as I can, and I'll do a stair stepper to try to get that going. I have my ankles, or I have some issues with my ankles sometimes, and actually I've had 2 knee surgeries, but there's not much I can do about that. No. I've got it's a thing I'm standing on to strengthen my ankles, because even in the training hikes that we've done, I'm so close to rolling those ankles at least 2 or 3 times a day. If I can get them stronger before I go out there, you know, that's only going to help me. You know, obviously I could drop a few pounds, which I am. You know, I'm starting to lose weight, and I want to get down. I want to drop another 10 pounds before February, which shouldn't be a problem. So working on my cardio, working on dropping some weight, working on my ankle strength is pretty much what I'm trying to do now.
Absolutely, man, and that's yeah, no doubt about it. Now, let me ask you: are you a planner? Like, in terms of, are you looking at the miles and are you planning each stop? Like, well, are you giving yourself an itinerary, or are you just throwing that out the window and just going?
That's getting tossed out the window. Being retired, I'm not on any schedule. I'm leaving early. I'm leaving in February, so I got plenty of time. Sure. I want to try to see everything I can see. You know, take the side trails to see the waterfalls or whatever, or the overlooks or whatever it may be. I'm not going to hike with my head down just plowing through miles. If I'm tired, I'm pulling over at the next shelter campsite and whatever. You know, that's the way I want to do it, and I think that's what's going to work for me. I do not feel, especially starting out, that I'm even going to try to do a 10 or 12 or 15 mile day.
Absolutely.
Unless I got to run into a town for weather or something like that.
Yeah. Absolutely, and that's the way to do it, man. As you know, them first 100 miles, or them miles through Georgia, them first couple of weeks, I think you got the right. Well, first of all, you can use that same method throughout the whole trail, but in general, at first, too many of these young kids, they sit and they watch these guys do 20s later in the trail, and they say, you know, I think I can start off like that. And then they come out here and they injure themselves, and they're gone by Neil's Gap, and it's crazy to watch, man.
They got their shoes in the trees.
Yeah, exactly. No, you nailed it. So over your shakedown hikes, do you have a favorite hiking moment so far? One that made you say, you know, this thing really is going to be a wonderful trip?
Oh gosh, so many moments. I would say the stop that we did on the Foothills Trail at what's the falls? Whitewater Falls. You know, I've seen there was a lot of waterfalls on the Foothills Trail, but this one was overall in my whole life the most beautiful waterfall I had ever seen. We just stopped and ate lunch in front of it. You know, that was the sealer of the deal for me. That I'm a hiker now. And it's one of those falls that, you could drive to, but on that trail, there's so many falls that are, if you wanted to get to it, you were going to have to hike 10 miles to get to it.
Yeah.
So some falls on that trail most people don't ever see.
Right. Now, I do want to tell you, on day one, you're going to get some falls. From Springer, it's literally right past the Three Forks area. I can't remember. It's Long Creek. I don't remember, but it's in your guide.
Yeah, I think it's called Long Creek Falls.
Yeah.
But there's a side trail to it, right?
Yeah, but it's only 150 feet. It's not even. Yeah, it's literally nothing. And it's a good place. It's about halfway through your trip to Hawk if your intentions are to go to Hawk on day one, which it may not be. The first time I was ever out there, I stopped and I camped at Three Forks, which is right there. It's a beautiful bridge. It's a beautiful area, which is about 4 miles in. Essentially you have Three Forks about 4 miles in, and then you have Hawk Mountain at 8 miles in. So I would recommend either of them two places, just because there's the only other shelter is 2 miles into your day, and I know you're not going to stop after 2 miles. So
I'll go for that.
You know what I mean? So with
that probably depends upon what time of day I can get out of there. You always I'm going to leave at 7 in the morning, and it ends up being 10 or 11.
Yeah. Well, here's what I've always learned to do on my own, is I give myself about 2 to 3 hours. Like, if I want to leave at 8 a.m., I wake up at 5. I'm just being, because I'm a coffee guy, and I it takes me a little bit to set up camp, and I want to talk shit and bullshit around, and you know what I mean, and it's just, and go get, sometimes I use all my water the night before, unfortunately, like an idiot, and you have to go get water, so, you know what I mean.
Well, that's me too. Retired life, I've two things have happened. My 20-minute cup of coffee's turned into a 40-minute cup, and I forget what day of the week it is. Other than that, it's the same.
I promise you will forget what day of the week it is on the trail. I can guarantee it. It will happen. No doubt about it. So let me ask you, when it comes to your weight of your pack, have you took it into consideration? Are you coming out light? Are you coming out heavy? About what type of weight are you looking at, do you think?
Well, I think I'm coming out light. I've bought some pretty high quality gear. When we did the Foothills Trail, minus water, minus food, and minus fuel, I think, and that's your base weight. I'm guessing. Is that what base weight is?
Yeah, base weight is minus your consumables, essentially. Right.
I was 12 pounds.
Wow.
For 7 days hiking, so. I'm ready, I think.
Oh, dude, you're gonna be light as can be.
Yeah. Well, I might have to get heavier than that because it wasn't as cold as I'm going to be. I'm going to have to carry some more clothes than I did on the Foothills Trail when I leave in February. So, yeah, I'm sure I'll probably be maybe 15 to 20 by the time I put the clothes I'm going to need in there.
Yeah. And I usually am around 30. So 30 is a comfortable weight for me. I don't feel, because I bring electronics, a lot of them, as you know, I'm documenting. And will you be documenting your hike?
Yes, I am. And you've actually helped me out a lot with some of your suggestions that you've given me on some editing stuff. I've got a channel already. It's called Probation Termination. And I'm just kind of throwing out some videos, learning and as I go on the editing and how to post the videos and stuff. The electronic stuff is new to me, but I'm going to do the best I can. And as the hike gets closer, I'm sure my videos will get better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It just takes... You just like anything else, you get better through experience. The more you do it, the better you'll get. So, don't worry about too much of the editing. It's the capturing those beautiful moments on the trail that matters the most in reality, because you can always go back and edit that shit later, just to be honest. Right. Now, going into this, do you have any trepidation? Do you have any fears? Anything that's standing out that you're saying, any kind of fears at all going in?
Well, everybody talks about bears. I'm not that concerned about bears. I've seen and listened and talked, most of the time the bears are scared of you as long as you're not in between the mama bear and its cub. So I'm not concerned about that. I'm a amateur arborist only because of the big trees I have around my property. So I've learned a lot about cutting trees and stuff. And I'm sometimes worried about falling limbs, as you're sleeping. I always try to look up and see where I'm pitching that tent to make sure I'm not going to get hit by a limb that's just hanging.
Yeah.
And the thing that actually scares me the most about the Appalachian Trail is ticks.
Yeah.
That Lyme disease thing it's a lifelong deal if you don't get it in time. So that's the thing that really scares me. I'm not really scared of snakes. Bugs are bugs, but the tick thing is the thing that scares me the most.
I got my first tick this year, and I cried like I cried like a baby. I was so I was with Ironheart, and we was in somewhere in Virginia or Tennessee or somewhere, but I think it was Hampton. But anyway, I got it, man, and I looked down, and it hadn't buried its head. It had not buried its head, so I was able to get it off. But dude, I took like 3 showers. I was so grossed out by it, like it was rough. Let me ask you, what is the thing that you're looking most forward to?
The sights, the getting away. I've got 34 years of law enforcement stress built up inside of me. So, if I can lift a lot of that off of my shoulders, which I'm sure it'll happen, it's going to change my life, and I know it. It's going to change my life for the better. I'm living a pretty good life as it is right now, but this is going to be the adventure of a lifetime. I can't wait to get started on this thing.
Yeah, I get it, man. I keep looking at my start date, and I'm thinking about pushing it, leaving sooner and sooner, and so I understand that. Is there any particular place along the Appalachian Trail that you've heard of, seen, but that you're looking most forward to getting to, other than Katahdin?
I've heard and seen Max Patch. Everybody says that's absolutely gorgeous. The McAfee Knob.
Yeah.
And of course the Grayson Highlands with the ponies and stuff like that. And then just some of the views that the people have hiked before posting of the White Mountains.
Yeah.
If I can't make this hike, and the only reason I'm not going to make it is if I get injured.
Yeah.
But if something happens to me, I'm going to eventually get myself up the White Mountains and get myself up to see some of those things that are up there.
Absolutely. So, when it comes to all of this, what would you consider yourself? Would you consider yourself more of a lone hiker, or are you looking forward to being within the community? Are you looking forward to with the bubble, when the bubble catches up with you? Because I know you're leaving in late February. Is that correct?
Mid-February, the 13th.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. So,
yeah.
Just curious, are you leaving that early to get ahead of the bubble? Just curious.
Yes, I've got a few reasons for that. Being in Florida, I hate the heat.
Yeah.
I'm just sick of the heat. And if I can get out and going, it gives me more of a chance to get up into the Northeast before, not that I'm going to be trying to plug 20 miles or anything, right, but it'll give me more of a chance to get up into the Northeast as the summer rolls along. That's part of the reason why I'm leaving early. The other part is getting out in front of the bubble a little bit, knowing that they will probably catch up to me, and that's fine. But my experience, I don't see myself sleeping in shelters too much unless I have to. I'm more of a tent guy, but I certainly am happy to hang around the campfire and shoot the shit with everybody, head off trail and go have a cold one, a burger or whatever. Yeah, I'm in that crowd too.
Absolutely. No, I get it 100%. And and the truth, I'm with you with the heat. People will tell you this was the first time I'd ever left in the spring. Like, I normally am a winter guy. I can't stand the heat for some reason. It tempts me to leave earlier and earlier. Like, I can't stand knowing that I'm leaving in the spring this time, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, now when you obviously have looked at the lure of the Appalachian Trail or watched YouTube videos, just curious, do you have any favorite YouTubers out there other than me, of course?
Well, I was going to say you.
Yeah.
The deal with you is you are the realest guy out there, man. Watching some videos of other people. When the first video I saw of yours, I hit the subscribe button as soon as I could, because you tell it like it is. And it doesn't make any difference what backlash you're going to get from whoever the politically correct or whatever assholes are out there. You're keeping it real, and that's what I like about it. Other people I watched some of Early Riser last year. I watched Red Mage, some of his. I watched some of the Black Elation. I didn't watch each video when they came out, but I certainly watched a few of them in between. I watched all their summit days. You watch somebody's summit day, and you just start dreaming. That could be me. I can't wait for my day.
Every single time I sit and envision my summit day, like I think about it, I still, all these years later, since I've started this, I still get the same feeling. I still tear up, and I still, I can't even picture it and image it and visualize it without tearing up. So I can't imagine how much I'm going to cry like a baby on my damn summit day.
Me too. Maybe we'll be on the same day.
Maybe, exactly. And, at the end of the day, because I think what I think it is I think it's an amazing accomplishment, but it's also a sadness because you're leaving this amazing journey, this adventure that you've dedicated so much of yourself, physically, emotionally, and everything to. Would you agree with that?
Agree 100%. And you said, what are you most scared about on the trail? Part of that would probably be what I'm going to do afterwards.
Yeah. What's always kept me kind of sane with that is that I plan on the Triple Crown. So that's kind of my thing, is that I planned on that next hike just as I know that when I do the AT, it's not over for me. So I'm asking you, with that being said, have you considered life beyond the AT? And I know that's dangerous to do right now, but have you considered or have any desire in possibly hiking some of the other big trails after this is done?
It's maybe.
Yeah.
Since I'm so new, and I don't know. Of course, I know what I'm getting into, but until you're actually into it, you don't really know what you're getting yourself into. Sure. So I can easily answer that question probably halfway through. But right now, I don't know. If I was to do another trail, if I can successfully complete this one, and it's the time of my life, then you're doggone right, I'm going to probably do another one. Everybody, I've seen a lot more of the PCT stuff than I have the CDT, but, I would evaluate at that time which one would be best for me.
Absolutely.
I would love to.
Yeah, I know the feeling, man. What do you feel is your personal biggest challenge going into this long distance hike on the AT?
Mentally, I know I'm strong. I don't have issues with. Everybody says that, but I really don't think I'm going to have an issue with the mental part of it. My problem is physically. I've had 2 knee surgeries on my right knee. Shoulder surgery on my right shoulder, all from racquetball. So I've really got to watch my knees and I've got to take care of my body is what I've got to do. Yeah. So that's probably the main thing on my mind as I'm starting out. I've got to take care of these knees. The shoulder, that's going to be all right. But, my body's not 100%. It's taken a beating over the years.
Yeah. So, do you have any going in? No. And I understand the physicality, but let me make this clear to you. I'm glad that's your challenge because at the end of the day, the AT is a mental war. And so, if physically, I listen. I know children that have hiked this thing, so physically, we all can do this. And where it does come is mentally, and yes. You kind of got to have mental stamina, in my opinion. You got to be able to not quit on a bad day. And I'm sure you stuck with the same career for 34 years. So I'm sure you got it. I'm sure you kind of got it.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm pretty tough when it comes to that sort of thing. If the wheels don't fall off the car, I'm going to be there.
Absolutely. So what are you most excited about with this now?
I just can't wait to get started. Day one is going to be like a birthday for me. And that'll wear off as you take a beating down the trail and everything. But, a friend of mine wakes up in the morning every morning and he screams out, thank God that he's giving me another day to excel. Give me another day and I'm going to excel. I'm going to do the best I can.
Absolutely. Now, in terms of social media or anything, where can these people find you or follow you, whether it be Twitter, whether it be YouTube, whatever it is you want the people to know?
Well, right now I've got a YouTube channel called Probation Termination. You can follow me there. I have an Instagram account that's linked to that. And I'm just kind of posting pictures on the Instagram of some of the things some of the hikes and stuff that we've been doing already. And then, like I said earlier, I'm just kind of sticking some videos on there, working on those. I'm going to try to post daily on my YouTube channel as we go along the trail. And, follow me along.
Absolutely. So now we're done with the hiking portion. I just want to let the people get to know you a little bit, just real quick. What would you say your hobbies outside of hiking are?
Well, when the racquetball career slowed down a little bit, I picked up. I'm a musician.
Yeah.
So at one point I was playing in 3 separate bands. Actually cut that down to 2. Now I'm only playing in 2.
Yeah.
So I play all instruments. I'm actually a percussionist drummer for the bands, but I play banjo, ukulele, guitar. The only thing I don't really play is keyboards. Anything with a string, I can figure it out. That's been my passion for the last probably 10 years since the racquetball thing slowed down on me.
Absolutely. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie of all time? You can really break that down into a lot of categories. I love anything by Tarantino. Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs. Those are all great movies. If you got to say favorite movie of all time, it's got to be Gone with the Wind.
Oh man, that's epic. That's definitely epic. I'm a Schindler's List guy.
Oh yeah.
I know it's long, and I'm a Stephen King guy too, but Schindler's List always just kind of got there. Political affiliation.
Republican, conservative, 100%. But I know not to, either at a bar or out around a campfire. Politics and religion, you don't bring them up.
Nope, but you'll be surprised how much you'll hear it out there. Yeah. So no, I just want to. Yeah, that's definitely all right. Kids, no kids.
1 kid, 2 stepkids, and they're both grown. My son is 26. I got 2 stepchildren, 22 and 25.
Excellent. Favorite food?
Oh, a big old filet mignon.
That's a man's meal. Absolutely. All right. So just kind of, throwing some personal stuff out there. Give us one thing about you that maybe not everyone knows that would surprise us. I ask everyone, and granted, we don't know you all that well right now, but give me one thing about you that's a personal detail that would make me surprised.
Ooh. All right, well, the musician thing's already out.
Yeah.
All right, I'll tell you this, and it's probably going to embarrass me. I binge watched the series Glee. And but I'm a musician, so,
Well, let me go ahead and, since you did that, I will do that. You know that
Okay.
Netflix series, Fuller House?
Yeah.
I watched that whole damn thing.
Now we're both embarrassed.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Man, this has been a good time, man, and I can't wait to see you out there on the trail. So everybody, and so it's Probation Termination. That's the YouTube page, correct?
Correct.
Absolutely, man. And so I can't wait to see you out there. I know I'm going to see you out there, and I'm excited about it. Do you have any final words? Anything? Any concerns? Anything going into this thing, man?
Not really. I'm, if it could start tomorrow, I would be happy. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Obviously I'd like to be a little more physically ready, which I will be by that time, but, I'm ready to go. I'm good.
Absolutely. Now, this is the first 2018er I've had a chance to sit down and talk to, ladies and gentlemen. And as you can see, there wasn't a whole lot I could get into because the man seems like he's pumped and ready. And so, with that being the case, it was kind of hard to dig in. So I had to thank you. And obviously, man, I'm excited for you to be out there. I'm excited to watch your video work and continue to be with me in my emails, and I will walk you through that whole process. And hopefully we can have another solid YouTuber out there this year, because I don't know how many there's going to be, man.
I'm going to do my best.
Absolutely. So, with that being said, this is Forrest, man, and a.k.a. Probation Termination. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today, and good luck on your hike.
Thank you, JB. Anytime, man.
I appreciate it, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. We're out of here. Appreciate it. We'll see you on the next Hiker Spotlight. Bye, bitches.